Hey there, friends and supporters of the Listener's Commentary. It's John, and I wanted to give you a quick update since we just wrapped up the Gospel of Mark. Wanted to give you an update on where we're going to go next and just a few other things in the works that I think might be helpful for you to know if you are interested in these kinds of things. And so first off, before we talk about where we're going to go next, let me just give you a couple of quick, short little stories that I find helpful and important for thinking about various ways to use the commentary. A number of people use it just for their own personal Bible study, and that's probably the primary way it gets used, but it can be used in other ways for discipling other people, mentoring people who are new to the Word and some of that. And so here's just a couple little stories of things that have come my way in the last few weeks that I think is really just encouraging and helpful. One is there's a church here locally in town that I have some connection with. They have really taken a liking to the Listener's Commentary and love to use it in concert with their sermon series. And so they're going to be launching a new series going through the Gospel of Mark, which we just wrapped up. And so one of the ways they're going to do that is they're going to, as they preach through the series, they're going to point people to the Listener's Commentary for more information, for more study, for more details. And when you're preaching, sometimes you just can't hit on all those details. And so for people that want more information or want to study along with Mark in concert with the sermon series, they're going to point people to that regularly in both in the sermons. Hey, we're not able to look at this text in detail, but if you want to know more, check out the Listener's Commentary on Mark on that. They're going to have a little blurb about the Mark commentary in the bulletin for Sundays with a QR code where people can instantly just scan it and be taken right to the website for the Gospel of Mark. They also are going to put a little poster in the lobby with information about the Mark commentary and, again, a QR code where people can just scan that so that they can access it quickly right there. And so I find that just a helpful idea for how, if you're a pastor or a youth pastor or whatever, ways you can begin to utilize the commentary within your church. And so throw that out there as just an idea and something that I think is helpful maybe to you. Another little story that is helpful is I just actually received an email in the last couple of weeks. Not really an email, it was more of a notification through a donation. Actually, this person named Donald donated and put a really encouraging little note along with their donation. And I know there's other churches that are using it this way. This one was the most recent. Donald, if you're listening, thanks so much for your support. Thanks so much for your encouraging note. And what Donald basically said was, my small group, we're going through a study of Romans, and I was looking on the internet for a commentary to kind of help us in our study, found the Listener's Commentary on Romans, and began using it with their small group Bible study. It's concise, it's clear, it's insightful, it's super helpful to our small group. And so there's another idea for a way you could use the Listener's Commentary beyond your own personal studies and small group Bible studies. I know people that have been using it sort of like in one-on-one, or maybe just two people getting together and reading through a Bible book and then listening to the commentary, and then they meet once a week for breakfast or whatever, and they discuss what they're learning and they discuss the text together. So just some stories and some ideas that thought might be helpful for other ways to use the Listener's Commentary. All right, now where are we going next? We just wrapped up the Gospel of Mark. What's next on the Listener's Commentary? Well, coming next is the book of Hebrews. And so we're going to jump into the book of Hebrews after we finish Mark. I think that's 16 New Testament books we have done, which means we have 11 more to go. Hebrews is one of those New Testament books that sometimes doesn't get the attention of others, and there's a lot of background detail to it, a lot of Old Testament detail to it, sacrifices and some of that sort of stuff, high priest, just tabernacle. So it'll be an opportunity to learn some really good stuff about the Old Testament as well as the New Testament, and about how Jesus fulfills all of that and how Jesus is superior and the culmination of the entire biblical story. So we're going to jump into Hebrews next. Now, in order to really make sure I'm organized and prepared and ready to go for Hebrews, there's not going to be any new episodes for the next week on the commentary. I want to give myself plenty of time just to really get up to speed and give myself a good runway for Hebrews. And so if you're somewhat new to the commentary and you're like, oh, bummer, man, no new episodes for a week, here's what I would encourage you to do is go back and pick one of the other 16 books that maybe you haven't studied or listened to and work through that. Philippians at the very beginning, or Romans, or Ephesians, or Galatians. Work through one of those earlier books and use that as part of your own personal Bible study while I'm getting lined out and set up to begin working through the book of Hebrews. And so just wanted to let you know that, where we're going, and that there aren't going to be any new episodes for a week here on the commentary. A couple other little details by way of update. First is, how's the new website coming? Well, here's how it's coming. It's taken longer than the web developers thought because there's so much content. He said, man, we're having a blast working on it. It's just taking longer because so much audio content, so much video content to incorporate into this new site. Because I'm moving all my online courses into the study hub that'll be part of the Listener's Commentary website. And there's over 60 videos in those online courses. It'll all be part of that once it's done. So it's coming along well. It's just taking a little bit longer. In fact, he just emailed me moments ago and said, I'm hoping to have the rough draft to you next week. We're going to try to connect next week and do a Zoom call, look at that. I got a few ideas I want to share with them. And so we're looking at getting the rough draft in next week, hopefully, Lord willing, and then working out some tweaks and some changes over the ensuing following week. So hopefully by the end of September, beginning of October, we'll have the new website up and rolling for you. Couple things that go along with that. Obviously, we've got the study hub. One of the things that maybe I haven't made super clear is the study hub is going to have a component for churches as well, where a church can sign up for a monthly subscription to the study hub, and that'll give everyone in their church access to all those video courses, as well as all the other study materials through specific Bible books and everything else I add to it. And so if you're a pastor or a church leader, you might look at that. There is a church in northern Idaho who one of the youth pastors is actually looking at using that for training leaders in their youth ministry. And so there's various ways that can be used. There's another church that wants to use it again, not only just for individuals to access, but for training their small group leaders and some of that sort of stuff. Those courses for churches are things like Bible survey. There's a Bible study skills course, like how to study the Bible. There's a basic theology course that'll be in there. There's a basics of spiritual growth course that really goes through a practical theology of spiritual growth and spiritual formation and what does that look like, as well as a couple little small mini courses in there. So all of that will be inside the study hub when it gets done. And that's part of the reason why it's taking so long to get this thing sorted out, because all that video work plus thinking through how to set up the login for churches and church members and all that, it's just a lot of work. And so really appreciate this web development company taking on this project at a fraction of what it would normally cost to do it, because it's kind of a complicated project with all we got going on there. But once it's done, it's going to be so much easier for you to use. It'll be so much easier for me to add content to the study hub. It's going to make it a better experience all the way around. So I'm super excited about that. One other thing on that new website is several people have asked, will it be available in an app? The short answer to that is not right now, but Lord willing someday. That's the short answer. My original dream for this was an app. When I first started dreaming this up several years ago, it just turns out that building an app is complicated and expensive. And so this new website is the first step in that direction, getting a professional web developer to help us do that. And he himself, when I was meeting with the project manager, he was like, have you ever thought about doing this as an app? I'm like, that was my original vision and dream. And he's like, okay, well, we're going to work towards that. So Lord willing, someday, hopefully not too long in the future, Phase 2 after the new website will be an app. I don't know when that'll be. It sort of depends on funding and timing and all of that. But Lord willing, as funds allow, we're going to turn this into a mobile-friendly app where you can just have that study hub material and all the stuff of the listener's commentary right there on your phone as an easy-to-access app. So that's where we're at with the new website. That's where we're going in the ensuing weeks on the commentary. So thanks for your investment, your engagement, for your questions, for your support. Thanks for your prayers on all of that. It's so encouraging to me when I hear stories about people who are like, man, for the first time, I'm really grasping what the text meant. Or when I hear things like, my husband and I are studying this together, and as we do, nothing has made us want to grow in our faith more than studying Scripture together while listening to the listener's commentary. Those sorts of things mean God is bearing good fruit and doing a good work through it. So super encouraged by that. To those of you who are financial supporters of this ministry, thank you so much. The new website and everything that's we're doing on the listener's commentary and the Bible in Life is made possible by your generosity and your faithful support. So thanks a ton for that. If you've been impacted, you want to join the team of supporters, feel free to do that. You can go to listenerscommentary.com, click the Give button. I'll put a link down in the notes below if you want to just click that as well, and set up a recurring monthly donation. You can set up a one-time donation. All donations there are received in partnership with World Family Mission, which provides some financial accountability and oversight, and they are a registered nonprofit as well, and so you get the benefit of that as well. So thank you so much for being a part of the listener's commentary and engaging with God's Word and using the listener's commentary as a tool to that end. May God bless you for it.